Catastrophic Necromancer. Chapter 43-69, Peering at a Supreme. The chaotic void was vast and silent. Even the disturbances and great wars Lin Moyu had stirred up were barely a ripple in the grand scope of chaos, not even a drop in the ocean. Now, with the cross-domain grand array repaired and connections restored, all had returned to normal. The array, hidden in spatial crevices, rarely revealed itself. After Lin Moyu left, the void seemed empty, only chaos chi flowing through. Suddenly space twisted and a figure slowly appeared, gazing in the direction where Lin Moyu had vanished. He murmured, "So it's him?" Not far off, a gentle white light flashed as an old man in a white robe appeared, his face peaceful and smiling. "Old Rui, any problem?" Old Rui shook his head. "Nothing, it's just." He didn't finish, but the meaning was clear. The white-robed elder smiled. "Hadn't you tried him out before?" Old Rui replied gravely, "His soul is exceptionally sensitive, but..." He was cut off. "There's no need to worry so much. We're always in the shadows. Whatever happens, we're not in any true danger. In fact, we don't even need your support, just don't interfere, that's enough." Old Rui's eyes flickered. "I won't interfere, but whether what you people are doing is right or wrong, that remains to be judged." The white-robed elder laughed lightly. "Time will tell." While they conversed, a cultivator passed close by, activated the cross-domain array, and left the eastern extreme, never noticing the two presences at all. Suddenly, both Supremes turned to look in one direction. Old Rui murmured, "The wild scar is about to erupt again." The white-robed elder said, "This time it's in the south." Old Rui nodded, "There'll be a major war." The white-robed elder smiled. "This is the cycle after countless years. Haven't you grown used to it?" Old Rui shook his head once more. "Getting used to it is one thing, liking it is another." Then he faded away. After they left, in an unremarkable spot of the cross-domain grand array hidden in a spatial fissure, a small formation hummed almost unnoticed. Inside the formation stood a thread of Lin Moyu's soul, having witnessed the entire conversation between the white-robed elder and old Rui. Not only did he see, he heard every word. The two Supremes never imagined anyone would dare try spying on them, so they hid nothing. Lin Moyu concealed himself expertly, even employing a trace of primordial worm's power. Even Supremes could not discover him. Just as the Catastrophic Supreme once used primordial worm power to hide from Dao, so now Lin Moyu could conceal himself from Supremes. As Lin Moyu flew rapidly through the void, a hint of a smile appeared on his face. So it really was a Supreme. Previously, someone had spied on him and erased a stretch of time. Back then, he suspected it was either Dao or a Supreme. Later, he figured it was most likely a Supreme, and now it was confirmed. He dared to watch Supremes in turn. As a chess piece on their board, he was nearly stepping off the board. This was the first time he had passively witnessed Supremes in action. Before, he had always been on the receiving end. To Lin Moyu, this was a breakthrough. This old Rui should be the Supreme overseeing the eastern extreme. He doesn't seem to be on Catastrophic Supreme's side, but he knows the Supreme's plan and won't stop or sabotage it at most. He'll be a bystander. There's trouble at the Wild Scar, a great war brewing between the southern extreme and central domain. Wars between the 3 domains and 4 extremes frequently break out, but now it seems there's much more going on under the surface. Lin Moyu pondered, but for now it was none of his concern. He had his own matters. Chaos was so vast that just a full sweep of the eastern extreme would take 1,000,000 years. Even with the eastern extreme Dragon Python's space talent, a thorough search would take years. Lin Moyu only knew a general area for his target. The search could only proceed step by step. In half a year, he truly entered the depths of the eastern extreme, feeling the scorching nature of the local Dao. Within the eastern extreme, the Dao runs hot, so the local cultivators are famously fiery, likely to fight at the slightest disagreement. Yet they are also open, and decisive. Sensing other cultivators nearby, Lin Moyu told the eastern extreme dragon python to slow down. A collision here would cause trouble, and although unafraid, he preferred to avoid conflict. He used the positions among the light points to narrow his search, but the target area was still vast. The dragon python circled the territory for over 3 years with no results. Chaos was just too empty. The only way was to search little by little. Lin Moyu released vast numbers of undead thralls to help find clues. He did discover several domains, all of which already belonged to someone and had likely been settled for many years, implying a full completion powerhouse behind each. Several times, the undead thralls were discovered and destroyed, but the attackers never traced Lin Moyu himself. All the while, Lin Moyu felt for any sign of the Catastrophic Supreme's array or unusual presence, admittedly a clumsy method, but it was all he could do. When the Catastrophic Supreme arranged the formation, he left no clues. Even causality was cut, so the cause-seeking ring could not help. For Lin Moyu, this was like finding a needle in a haystack. He braced himself. Even if it took hundreds or thousands of years, he would keep searching. If he just found one, the rest would be easier to track. 10 years passed with no result. Every dragon python he had was put to work searching every level of the eastern extreme. "Father, I sense a kindred spirit." Little Peng suddenly glanced at Lin Moyu, a hint of surprise in his gaze. The solitary Peng race, after challenging the position of supreme, was scattered and cursed. Rarely would a single Peng ever meet another in its lifetime. The fact that little Peng sensed a peer was a total shock. Not only Lin Moyu, but even little Peng was amazed. "Let's check it out," Lin Moyu said. They pinpointed the location, and the dragon python tore through the void twice before they arrived. There a continent hovered in the chaos, half concealed by the swirling Kai. Upon that land, a Peng python lay, its life already gone. Chapter 4370, The Eerie Continent. Seeing his tribesmen, little Peng was clearly excited, his bloodline resonating with a buzzing sound. He wanted to rush over, but Lin Moyu stopped him. "Don't rush. There's something wrong with this continent." The continent was not large, but the corpse of little Peng's tribesmen took up a significant portion of it. As a powerful chaos lifeform, when showing its true form, its size often surpassed imagination. Some formidable chaos lifeforms could even be bigger than a small domain. This corpse was over 10 million meters long. From the aura emanating from it, it was at chaos greater completion. Although stirred by bloodline resonance, little Peng still trusted Lin Moyu, suppressing his urge to rush forward. He asked softly, "Father, what's wrong?" Lin Moyu said, "We searched this region for 10 years. If I remember correctly, we've passed through here before, but didn't find this continent then. Your tribesmen didn't just die in the last 10 years, so why did you only now sense his aura?" Just these 2 points make it clear this continent is strange. Everything abnormal must have its reason, so we can't be hasty. Let's get to the bottom of it first. Little Peng calmed himself, knowing Lin Moyu was right. This was indeed highly suspicious. Having previously dealt with the primordial worm, Lin Moyu didn't immediately send undead thralls, but instead dispatched an eastern extreme dragon python. In chaos, too many dangers exist, some even able to trace a threat back through an undead thrall, endangering all. Compared to undead thralls, the connection between a reborn being and Lin Moyu is much weaker, so even if something happened, the repercussions for Lin Moyu would be minor. A half-step chaos eastern extreme dragon python flew toward the continent. The closer it got, the weaker its aura grew, as if it was being pulled far away at incredible speed. The continent seemed close by, yet the dragon python, no matter how fast it moved, never arrived. Space is folded. Lin Moyu realized the space near the continent was folded. It looked near but was, in fact, incredibly far. Little Peng said, "No wonder. My clansman seems right in front of me, but the aura tells me he's far, far away. Now calmed, little Peng could make accurate judgments of the situation. The Eastern Extreme Dragon Python's talent allowed it to cross the void, theoretically ignoring folded space. But Lin Moyu did not command it to do so. He wanted it to proceed, normally, to see whether anything strange would happen on approach. After a long flight, the dragon python finally traversed the folded space and landed on the continent. Suddenly, its aura dropped rapidly. As the master, Lin Moyu felt its life force ebbing away acutely. In the dragon python's vision, there was nothing unusual at all. Undead Eye. Lin Moyu activated the Undead Eye and instantly saw countless soul flames. These flames were tiny, but there were so many it was staggering, flickering, and dancing in the void. They attached themselves to the dragon python's body, ever drawing its life force. Not just on the surface, many soul flames burrowed inside, filling its whole body. The Peng python in the distance was the same, its entire inside and out occupied by soul flames under the eye. It looked like a giant fireball. "What are these things?" Lin Moyu muttered. Little Peng saw nothing. "Father, what do you see?" Lin Moyu replied, "Lots of tiny souls. They can't be seen by ordinary senses or even the soul eye. They enter the body and draw out its life. Your tribesman looks dead, but actually is. He's become food, constantly supplying life force. It's been going on a long time. It's interesting, your people have such an ability." Through the undead eye, Lin Moyu saw not just the countless soul flames, but that the Peng python still had a soul neither dead, nor simply sleeping, nor in wounded hibernation. Little Peng explained, "That's one of our talents, called dormant extinction, Chinese letter. He went on to elaborate. As a once incomparable race, the chaotic lonely Peng also had potent talents, more varied than the Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons, and dormant extinction was among them. Dormant extinction was similar to feigned death, but more than that. When in life-threatening peril, they could enter this state. Their defense would grow extremely strong, generating immense life force, while the soul would shrink to a tiny point. While dormant, both soul and body could be healed. When the state ended, wounds would mostly be healed. If killed during this state, the soul would escape the body and flee the void so long as the soul survived. The body could regenerate. Thus, dormant extinction was far superior to feigning death or sleeping, and was a top-tier escape method. But now, this Peng at Chaos Greater Completion had entered dormant extinction here. Yet these things hadn't tried to kill it. Instead, they treated it like a living life force deposit. Since its flesh didn't die and the soul couldn't escape, it's become trapped here forever. Dormant extinction could continue indefinitely. It would be eternally trapped. Meanwhile, the dragon python Lin Moyu had sent was nearing its limit. Losing life force rapidly, its cultivation remained, but its strength plummeted, powerless even to flee. Soon, it fell, conscious but immobile. The eerie soul flames filled its inside and out, endlessly drawing its life. Though only half-step chaos and reborn, the dragon python had tenacious life force, constantly regrowing vitality. The soul flames treated it as a meal ticket, drawing life but not killing, instead controlling the pace so as not to end its existence. Little Peng didn't recognize these soul flames. His bloodline memories had nothing comparable, indeed bizarre. Lin Moyu sent out more dragon pythons. As the undead eye stayed open, the instant they set foot on the continent, waves of soul flames erupted to engulf them. When Lin Moyu tried to extract them before all life was drained, the continent emitted a faint light and pulled them back with invisible force they couldn't escape. Within a blink, the dragon pythons' bodies were engulfed by soul flames, inside and out, with surging life force draining away. Their experiences were identical, no exceptions. Lin Moyu sighed, "Now I know why your clansmen never escaped." Before he could elaborate, Little Peng shouted, The continent disappeared. Chapter 4371, Colossus. The continent vanished, abruptly and eerily, without any warning whatsoever. It was just there one moment, the next gone. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, "It appeared just as suddenly before. Now it vanishes as suddenly. Truly, there are many bizarre things in chaos." Little Peng asked, "Father, just now you said you knew why my clansmen didn't escape." Lin Moyu nodded. "To be precise, it's not that he didn't want to escape, but that he couldn't. The continent only allows entry, not exit." Little Peng pressed, "So, what do we do now?" Lin Moyu replied, "No rush, we'll have an answer soon." Although the continent had disappeared, it still contained several reborn beings, all still alive. Lin Moyu and his reborn forces shared a connection, so he could sense, as those reborn moved rapidly away. Once they stopped somewhere, he could follow. After half an hour, their speed slowed, then halted. This meant the continent had stopped moving, too. Lin Moyu confirmed his reborn ones were still as before, then signaled the eastern extreme dragon python to cross the void. The continent's movement was swift, traversing the void just as fast as the dragon python, not any slower. In a mere half hour, it flew trillions of li. The dragon python, after several void crossings, finally arrived as well. Upon seeing the continent again, Little Peng couldn't suppress a cry. "This is..." Before he could finish, Lin Moyu gently tapped him, sending a soft power to silence him completely. Lin Moyu, too, was shocked, but while surprised, he remained composed. "Back away slowly, don't alarm him." He motioned for Little Peng to retreat, suppressing their auras to avoid detection. Recognizing the seriousness, Little Peng carefully retreated tens of millions of li. From that distance, they saw the continent floating quietly. The continent was nothing. It was what loomed behind it that filled Lin Moyu and Little Peng with awe. Behind it was an unbelievably gigantic beast, shaped like a bull with a massive, sharp horn on its head. Its hide was rock-like and deeply ravined. Within those ravines, winds, clouds, and lightning drifted faintly. This being was so massive that even from tens of millions of li away, every detail was clear. Get any closer, and one wouldn't even be able to see its head or tail. Lin Moyu sighed. "Its rumored chaos contains life forms as large as domains, but this surpasses rumor utterly." Little Peng whispered, "This isn't as big as a domain, it's many times bigger." This chaos life form was so vast Lin Moyu could no longer measure with ordinary distances. It lay there seemingly asleep. Of all the stone blocks that floated by it, the previously seen continent was merely one. Some boulders were world-sized, others only 10,000 li across. Yet compared to this behemoth, 10,000 li stones weren't even pebbles, just dust motes. Nothing in Little Peng's bloodline memory resembled this thing. He murmured, "Father, what do we do?" Lin Moyu said, "Let's wait and watch. He's probably sleeping and won't wake soon." I peered with the undead eye. His soul is calm, truly asleep. Such colossi, once asleep, usually slumber for thousands or millions of years. Even if awakened abruptly, it'd take a while, giving them time to escape. Around him drifted countless stones. On closer inspection, Lin Moyu saw that many had life forms atop them, all half dead, blanketed in soul flames which drank their life force. What is the connection between these soul flames and this beast? Lin Moyu was determined to understand this before taking action. Judging from its aura and the soul flames, it seemed to be at full completion. Yet, compared to ordinary full completion beings, including the 3 divine phoenixes and the elders of the Central Domain Divine Alliance, none measured up. Perhaps only the divine phoenix ancestor or Tiangxuzi could compete. This being stood atop full completion's peak. Next step, it would be a supreme. To face such a thing was hopeless. No formation, no matter how powerful, guaranteed victory. Even running endless simulations, every outcome ended in failure save for one: strike with the catastrophic scepter while it slept. But even getting close, that was a massive question. After pondering a long time, Lin Moyu still found no solution. Suddenly, thunder boomed in the void. Countless lightning arcs erupted from the monster's ravines. Simultaneously, thunder and lightning surged from its mouth, nose, even the horn. A heavy snore shook the air. Then the lightning exploded, surging outward, tossing all the stones and continents about, sending them shooting through void toward the distance. The stones tunneled through space, scattering far and wide. After the stones left, the thunder lingered. Rolling low thunder rumbled unceasing. Little Peng whispered, "What's happening?" Lin Moyu replied thoughtfully, "If I'm not mistaken, he's snoring." Snoring, Little Peng was shocked. Snoring can make that much noise. Lin Moyu said, "He's just so huge even his snore is colossal. But yes, it really is that much." If they hadn't kept their distance, they'd have been dead already. Just being within a million li of those thunderbolts, even a chaos greater completion expert would be gravely wounded. Weaker ones would die. If a snore hit near a domain's edge, that domain would likely collapse. If mere snoring packs such terror, what if he wakes up and fights? Lin Moyu abandoned the notion of approaching. The catastrophic scepter would be useless here. He realized all at once the same helplessness the catastrophic supreme felt facing Dao, armed with a weapon that could kill Dao, yet personally too weak. Defeat was inevitable. Now faced with this gargantuan beast, Lin Moyu tasted that same bitter dilemma. The snoring lasted a long while, then finally, after half a day, began to fade. Lin Moyu said, "If I'm right, the continents are coming back." Sure enough, moments later, space twisted and the continent returned. More and more continents reappeared, circling the Colossus as before. The situation on each remained unchanged. Snore erupts, continents scatter. Snore stops, continents return. Just the noise of a snore easily exceeded most full completion powerhouses. And as it subsided, thunder scattered down like a rain of sparks, falling on every continent. Each continent glimmered, and Little Peng's eyes went wide. He saw innumerable tiny worms flying off the continents, racing along thunderbolts toward the beast. Lin Moyu, too, narrowed his eyes. He saw other things as well, his expression flashing excitement. No effort wasted, the opportunities come on its own. Chapter 43-72, The Chaotic Desolate Ox. Countless bugs rose from each stone, and following the lightning, flew toward the colossal beast. The instant he saw the bugs, Lin Moyu's soul roiled with unrest, and a deeply buried memory in Little Peng's bloodline awakened along with a powerful sense of terror. Little Peng trembled all over, his jaw moving but unable to utter a sound. Still, the shock in his eyes was clear to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu didn't press with questions, just waited for Little Peng to calm down, for Lin Moyu saw even more than he did. Among the flashing lightning, a formation faintly appeared, half obscured by the light, but just a few glances filled Lin Moyu with delight. Within that formation, Lin Moyu glimpsed the traces of the catastrophic Supreme. That Supreme would never leave traces lightly after all. His enemy had once been Dao, and every trace might be used against him. To leave a trace here must be for a purpose. Lin Moyu instinctively felt this ultra-giant chaotic lifeform was far from simple. He did not act rashly, knowing now was not the time. When the lightning finally faded and calm returned, the bugs vanished as well. They still existed, but when the lightning disappeared, so too did their visibility. If anyone set foot on those stones now, they'd surely be attacked and unable to escape. After Little Peng eventually calmed down, Lin Moyu asked, "What did you remember?" Little Peng's voice was hoarse and much lower than usual. A segment of bloodline memory resurfaced, one sealed away, only triggered under special circumstances. Lin Moyu asked, "Because of those bugs?" Little Peng nodded. "Yes, those bugs are called soul-eater bugs. Normally, they're invisible, almost undetectable, showing themselves only in special circumstances. They absorb the life force of living beings and are difficult to handle, but the truly frightening thing isn't them, it's him." He continued, He's called the chaotic desolate ox. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. The soul-eater bugs are its symbiotic creatures, even servants. The desolate ox was born in the ancient wilds, roams chaos. Its strength unknown, legends say it rivals supremes. Usually it just sleeps. When sleeping, its hide splits off fragments, scattering with soul-eater bugs to lure in other life forms. Any beings entering those fragments are trapped, becoming food for the bugs, who drain their life and transmit the energy to the desolate ox. Those inhabited by the bugs don't die. The soul-eater bugs will control the draining so that, until the ox wakes and recalls the fragments, only then will all those beings perish once and for all. Lin Moyu asked, "Why did your ancestor seal these memories?" Little Peng shook his head. "I don't know, but there must have been a reason. The memory is filled with ancestral fear. Long ago, we must have tangled with the desolate ox, but the details are lost." Lin Moyu asked, "Do you know how many chaotic desolate oxes there are in the world?" Little Peng shook his head again. If it wasn't in the bloodline memory, he didn't know. Creatures as impossibly powerful as the desolate ox could never be many. Born of the ancient wilds, with power to rival a supreme, whether myth or truth, at the very least it was no weaker than any full completion powerhouse. Most tellingly, it had no domain, just like the primordial worm, another signature trait of the ancient wilds, becoming peak existences without domain power. Now that Lin Moyu knew the ox's name, he realized that to learn more, he'd have to converse with it directly. But before that, he needed to make preparations, always leave an escape route. He retreated further, putting several 100 million li between himself and the beast before laying a formation. This array had two main functions, teleportation and creating clones. Controlling the cross-domain grand array made setting up teleport arrays easier than ever. This one could send him hundreds of billions of li in an instant, always in a random direction, and erase all traces of his presence. He was thorough. Against something like the chaotic desolate ox, you must never be careless. The second function created a clone, allowing Lin Moyu to send a duplicate forward, risking nothing personal. Even if the clone was slain, no true harm would come to him. Once the formation was ready, Lin Moyu activated it, remaining in reserve while infusing a shred of soul into the array, grabbing a few chaos-grade materials and refining them into a clone. The clone, looking much like Lin Moyu himself, was animated with a touch of soul, appearing lively, not stiff. Lin Moyu and Little Peng hid together within the array, while the clone approached the desolate ox. When 1 million li away, the clone halted and tried to rouse the beast with soul transmission. Several attempts brought no response. Lin Moyu realized he'd have to move closer. He soon entered the stone field, orbiting the ox's body, some stones the size of worlds, the smallest bigger than mountains. He wove carefully among them, knowing that as long as he didn't land upon them, nothing would happen. The soul-eater bugs only inhabited their own stones and would not leave them. Still, Lin Moyu took all precautions. As he got closer to the desolate ox, the stones grew thicker and thicker. These stones did not orbit randomly, they followed fixed trajectories like satellites, and Lin Moyu matched his pace to theirs, slow but safe. 500,000 li. 300,000 li. 100,000 li. At a mere 100,000 li, the density multiplied again. Everywhere he looked was packed with swirling stones. He kept to his route, pressing on. Suddenly, a booming sound crashed through the void. Lin Moyu's face changed slightly, sooner than expected. The boom was the desolate ox snoring. Each snore had a certain rhythm, but this time it came early. Lightning exploded from the ox, forming a web of 10,000 crackling arcs. Anyone near the beast would have no way to escape. Lin Moyu's clone could only endure. Engulfed by lightning, his clone was instantly torn to pieces, unable to mount any resistance at all. Far away, the true Lin Moyu witnessed this, sighing, "What a headache! Even the snoring isn't regular." With no hesitation, he directed another strand of his soul into the array, grabbed more materials, and swiftly forged another clone. This time, Lin Moyu waited for a round of snores to end before advancing the clone. Armed with prior experience, he navigated expertly to the 100,000 li mark close enough that the ox's body could barely be seen in full, only a section. The rocks now crowded so thickly they merged to a solid mass. He advanced along their orbital route, closing the distance with all haste, fearing another snore would erupt. 100,000 li wasn't far. He covered it in mere minutes, now less than 10,000 li away. One last push, and the rocks would be behind him. Suddenly, several rocks nearby erupted in dazzling light, thunder rumbled, and swarms of crystalline soul-eater bugs burst forth. Chapter 4373. This creature is way too abnormal. Billions upon billions of soul-eater bugs surged from all directions, so densely packed they blotted out the sky. Each bug was tiny as dust, seemingly insignificant, and their strength was unknown. But Lin Moyu knew that if he were ever infested, his life force would be drained in an instant. Soul-eater bugs were notoriously troublesome. As Little Peng said, they could be immune to most attacks. Lin Moyu would have preferred to avoid fighting these bugs, but under these circumstances, there was no choice. World-ending Dao Palm. Lin Moyu raised his hand. Instantly, palm imprints blanketed the area in every direction. Although it was just a clone, the power of the world-ending Dao Palm didn't diminish much whether from the clone or the true body. The giant palm prints crushed countless soul-eater bugs, many falling instantly. Yet, as the palm's force dissipated, the soul-eater bugs self-destructed at death, their explosions neutralizing part of the palm's power. This way, each palm only wiped out the outermost layer of bugs. It looked like a massacre, but with numbers so innumerable, it was barely a drop in the ocean. Still, Lin Moyu believed that as long as his attacks worked, that was enough. He unleashed countless palm strikes, regardless of cost, flooding every direction with remnants of his hands. The world-ending Dao Palm barely taxed his reserves. Its primary resource is soul force, and his soul force was infinitely self-renewing. Even with a clone, his real body's support made this possible. That was his greatest advantage. Thousands of palm prints flew out every second, killing swathes of soul-eater bugs. The bugs kept self-destructing, neutralizing one layer after another, but no matter how endless their numbers, they couldn't get close to Lin Moyu. Clearing a path with his palms, Lin Moyu pressed onward, approaching the chaotic, desolate ox. Soul-eater bugs were the ox's symbiotes and guardians, constituting the outer defense while it slept. Now that Lin Moyu broke through the defense, the bugs became furious, more masses flying forth from the stones. Some began to merge, forming giant soul-eater bugs thousands of meters long, which then vanished. After merging, the bugs increased not only in size, but also in stealth. Lin Moyu had no idea how they concealed themselves. There was no sign of space fluctuations, but they simply weren't there anymore. With the undead eye activated, Lin Moyu saw clusters of enormous soul flames, the soul signatures of these huge bugs. Suddenly, dozens of giant soul-eater bugs appeared less than 1,000 meters ahead. World-ending Dao Palm. Both hands fluttered, unleashing so many palm strikes that it seemed endless. The giant soul-eater bugs opened their maws wide, generating a tremendous suction that swallowed the palm strikes whole. The world-ending Dao Palm was rendered useless. The giant soul-eater bugs devoured it and then targeted Lin Moyu directly. Great, roaring suction erupted from all sides, nearly tearing even Lin Moyu's clone to pieces on the spot. In this situation, Lin Moyu couldn't get any closer to the chaotic, desolate ox. He couldn't even budge. That the bugs could merge and dramatically heighten their power was surprising, but it made sense. If they weren't so dangerous, they'd never have been sealed into the lonely Peng's bloodline as an existential threat. As soul-eater bugs closed in, ready to consume him, Lin Moyu summoned a roaring inferno. The world-burning fire erupted like a volcano, blazing through the chaotic void. Soul-eater bugs were tiny, mainly spiritual in nature, and for burning souls, world-burning fire was the perfect countermeasure. Lin Moyu heard the piercing shrieks of the bugs. In moments, the fire burned countless soul-eater bugs to cinders and shattered the giants. They could swallow life force and neutralize most attacks, but against world-burning fire, they had no defense. He carved a passage through with fire, crossing the stone field to stand face to face with the chaotic, desolate ox. The ox's hide was covered in ravines, like monstrous canyons tossed with lightning. Rivers of thunder flowed in those chasms. At such close range, Lin Moyu tried again with soul voice. The chaotic, desolate ox didn't stir. Its sleep was deep and peaceful. Lin Moyu calculated the timing. Another snore was soon coming, and there wasn't much time left. Unable to wake him, he tried a different approach: provocation. No offense. World-ending Dao palm. Lin Moyu struck. The palm print landed on the beast's hide, scattering bits of stone, but there was no reaction. Lin Moyu felt helpless. Its defense exceeded expectations. His attack barely scratched it, let alone annoyed it. Lightning flickered in the ravines. Another snore was imminent. If the palm didn't rouse him, Lin Moyu resorted to world-burning fire. World-burning fire penetrates right to the soul, so it should be effective. But Lin Moyu also worried about provoking dangerous wrath. After all, waking someone up abruptly rarely ends well. A flame of world-burning fire flew out, struck the chaotic, desolate ox, tunneled past the skin and into the soul. With undead eye active, Lin Moyu watched the ox's soul flame quiver slightly, then sensed his fire dissipate. World-burning fire, always effective, only twitched the ox's soul flame imperceptibly. Lin Moyu was speechless. The beast's defense wasn't just physical, but spiritual too. Not only could he not hurt it, he couldn't even prod it. This creature was far too abnormal. Boom! Thunder exploded. Rivers of lightning cascaded from the canyons, drowning Lin Moyu's clone in an instant. The clone perished, and 1,000,000,000 li away, Lin Moyu could only sigh and prepare another. He formed a new clone, waited for the snore to end, then approached again to try waking the chaotic, desolate ox. Suddenly, everything blurred. A massive eye filled his field of vision. The ox, 1,000,000,000 li away, appeared before him in a flash. Lin Moyu instinctively tried to activate the escape array, but found himself paralyzed. Body and soul would not respond. A formless force rendered him helpless, unable even to leave. His array was suppressed, petrified and inert. Everything surpassed Lin Moyu's expectations. The desolate ox had woken, homed in on him instantly, and was now directly confronting him. Its immense eye, like a world, stared down, filling Lin Moyu with crushing pressure. In its gaze, Lin Moyu saw his own reflection, so small, so insignificant. Then the ox slowly retreated, and after moving 10,000 li away, Lin Moyu could just make out some of its immense shape. A deep, thunder-ridden voice boomed, "You've finally come." Lin Moyu's heart skipped. There was too much meaning in those words. Only a few would truly understand. Without waiting for Lin Moyu to reply, the chaotic, desolate ox opened its mouth. "Come inside, let's talk." Chapter 4374, Call Me Old Ox. The chaotic, desolate ox was unimaginably massive when it opened its mouth. It seemed boundless, and Lin Moyu felt it could easily swallow a small domain whole. Lin Moyu knew, with a being of this level, if it truly wanted to harm him, there was no need for any tricks. It could kill him in the blink of an eye. So, without further hesitation, he entered the ox's mouth. The ox's mouth slowly closed, plunging Lin Moyu into darkness, though strangely there was no foul smell. He felt as if he'd entered a domain unto itself. But the chaotic, desolate ox shouldn't have a domain. Yet this sensation. Slowly light returned, carried on a gentle breeze, scented faintly of earth, a refreshing, exhilarating feeling. In the light Lin Moyu saw a boundless expanse of grassland, green waves rolling in the wind, and a solitary great tree far away that stood prominent, but not out of place. "Come over," called a voice from beside the tree. Lin Moyu went, finding a lakeside, and beneath the tree, a middle-aged man sitting at a small tea table, fragrant tea brewing before him. The tea aroma alone marked it as extraordinary. Ever since entering chaos, this was the first tea Lin Moyu had smelled that was so alluring. In the chaos, living beings had various passions, but tea lovers were quite rare. "Sit," said the man without ceremony. Lin Moyu knew this was the chaotic, desolate ox. He sat down without pretense. A cup of tea floated to Lin Moyu, and the ox growled, "Drink." Lin Moyu did so without hesitation. The tea was fragrant and gentle, but upon entering his stomach, it turned searing hot like thunder. It burst into countless hot currents rushing through his body, then into his soul, becoming a mighty river of thunder targeting the chaos ancestral tree. The ancestral tree began to sway and revealed its small form, immediately burying itself at the roots and falling fast asleep, not even greeting Lin Moyu in its rush. Bathed in this torrent, its aura quickly soared. Lin Moyu was stunned. "Senior, this tea. This tea has waited for you for countless years," rumbled the ox. Lin Moyu asked, "How did you know the one you're waiting for is me?" "World-burning fire," the ox replied simply. The legendary world-burning fire, a gift from the mysterious master, was enough for the ox to recognize Lin Moyu clearly. That master was no ordinary Dao venerable, not just someone from the great world. Lin Moyu wanted to ask more, but the ox cut him off. "Call me Old Ox." Lin Moyu nodded. "Old Ox, Senior." Again the ox interrupted, "Just Old Ox." Now Lin Moyu understood his temperament and intent. "Old Ox, do you know who the original owner of the world-burning fire was?" Old Ox took a sip of tea different from what Lin Moyu had just drunk, which had been prepared for him over countless years. "I know, but it doesn't matter," he said. The implication was clear. He knew but wouldn't tell. Lin Moyu realized there was no point pressing further. Maybe it wasn't time for him to know. Actually, he still had many questions. For example, the Chaos Ancestral Tree. That cup of tea was clearly for the ancestral tree, so the ox must have known it existed. It seemed that everything happening to Lin Moyu, or even to Lin Mohan, his sister, was all part of a carefully engineered plan against Dao. "You'll understand in time, no need to worry about it now," said Old Ox, forthright and full of deeper meaning. This wasn't the time for Lin Moyu to ponder these things. Knowledge meant nothing unless he could surpass the ones who plotted it all. Lin Moyu said, "The Catastrophic Supreme's array." Old Ox said, "It's there, go handle it, and I'll finally be free." Following Old Ox's direction, Lin Moyu saw, far off in the void, an array wreathed in lightning. After watching for a while, he could clearly identify the Catastrophic Supreme's handiwork. A leaf drifted down and hovered before Lin Moyu. Old Ox said, "Anything worth telling is in that leaf. Look at it after I'm gone." Lin Moyu understood. Old Ox had waited here for many years, and the time for release had come. He should hurry up and finish his business and leave, not waste time lingering. He put away the leaf. Deep down, he knew Old Ox couldn't truly be released at best. He could complete his old mission. This game would last a long time yet. Lin Moyu asked, "Old Ox, out on one of your stones is a chaotic lonely peng. Could you let it go?" "Chaotic lonely peng?" Old Ox searched, eyes flashing as if checking his surroundings. So many stones circled him, many with living beings on them. The lonely peng was just one of many, no more significant than the rest. Moments later, Old Ox seemed to find it. "All right, let it go." Lin Moyu, a little gossipy at heart, asked, What's between you and the chaotic lonely Peng? They seem to fear you a lot. Old Ox's eyes grew distant, searching vast memories. Maybe what was trivial to him was life-changing for the lonely Peng clan. After a while, Old Ox found the answer. Years ago, those fellows challenged me. I killed most, a few escaped. Why did they challenge you? Asked Lin Moyu. Old Ox shook his head. No idea, they're garbage. I don't care what garbage thinks. They sought me out, so I killed most, the rest ran, that's all. Well, the chaotic lonely Peng clan's ambition to rival Supremes must have been strong, yet from Old Ox's lips, they were mere trash. Lin Moyu pressed further. Are you sure talking here is safe? Won't it? No. Old Ox replied, unless its power surpasses mine, it can't know. Check the leaf for details. For the second time, Old Ox was sending him away. Lin Moyu realized he didn't want to say more, so he got up and said, then I'll go take care of it. Old Ox grunted, flicked a hand, and Lin Moyu was shrouded in lightning. The array was cloaked in thunder. If not for Old Ox's lightning, he probably couldn't approach it at all. He bowed respectfully, then flew toward the array and moments later stood before it. Up close, he could see even more clearly the Catastrophic Supreme's touch. The array resembled the one used by the Divine Phoenix clan, most likely built from the same origin. After a brief inspection, Lin Moyu entered and began refining the array. Refining the array was simple work for Lin Moyu. It wouldn't take long. Old Ox continued sipping tea, an indescribable expression in his eyes, eventually closing his eyes as the wind in that space seemed to grow louder. Chapter 4375, still a matter of strength. In just a few short days, Lin Moyu had refined this grand formation that had existed for countless years. Outside the formation, the lightning vanished. Old Ox withdrew his thunder, and Lin Moyu, struck by inspiration, injected a flame of world-burning fire into the array, enveloping the whole formation within it. He heard Old Ox's voice, I'm leaving. The scene shifted, and Lin Moyu found himself back in the chaotic void. The colossal, chaotic, desolate Ox was gone, with no sign of spatial fluctuation, no way to tell how he had left. Before him was a small domain, hidden deep in the void inside a spatial crevice. The grand formation rested within this domain, concealed by the world-burning fire, making it even harder to detect. Aside from a single leaf, Old Ox had left no further message. Lin Moyu sent his soul into the leaf. The leaf turned to dust, vanishing as a torrent of information poured into his soul world. The chaotic, desolate Ox, like the primordial worm, came from the ancient wilds and possessed a strange power called primordial wild weight. The level of power from primordial wild thunder matched that of Tao. That's why the Catastrophic Supreme entrusted this formation to the Ox. It could evade Tao's detection. The Ox joined their arrangement, guarding the formation for untold years until Lin Moyu's arrival. As Lin Moyu had guessed, the Ox was not truly freed, only the duties of his role had ended. This time, as he departed, he would go to the ancient wilds, likely to join up with Tiangsuzi and others in preparation for the final battle. That cup of tea, named Wild Water, Chinese letter, was refined from the essence of ancestral water and many rare treasures of the ancient wilds. From antiquity to now, only a single cup was made. No one but the owner of the Chaos ancestral tree could drink it. Anyone else would die, body and soul. In other words, wild water was prepared solely for the Chaos ancestral tree. Its specific effect wasn't fully detailed in the leaf, which only explained that it was of great use to the ancestral tree. This showed how deep the Catastrophic Supreme's planning ran. Even the Chaos ancestral tree was a part of the arrangement. After all, they understood clearly their opponent was Tao, the most difficult foe in all of Chaos. Reading this, Lin Moyu wondered, why did the chaotic, desolate Ox join them? If he just fled to the ancient wilds, he'd be safe. And he doesn't seem like one who'd want to upset the heavens Could there be more secrets? Aside from these insights, the leaf also detailed parts of the Grand Formation and Domain. This domain was formed by the Catastrophic Supreme using a domain seed. From its inception, the Chaos Desolate Ox infused it with primordial wild thunder. Though not large, the domain's tier was extremely high, thus able to bear such a grand formation. Because of the primordial wild thunder, it couldn't birth living beings, it could only serve as a formation plate. The benefit was its high tier and the fact that Dao could not easily discover it. Lin Moyu set up a new teleport formation inside the domain, so he could come back whenever he wished. He then concealed the domain, returning truly to chaos. Not far off, a chaotic lonely Peng floated, still in a dormant state, but now free thanks to being released. Lin Moyu called out Little Peng, "Your clansman is safe." Overjoyed, Little Peng shouted, "Thank you, father." Lin Moyu said, "I asked. It was your people who provoked him back then, so he wiped most out. Best not think about revenge." Little Peng shook his head vigorously. "Never crossed my mind. He's terrifying, we're no match. Ancestors warned us not to think about revenge." Lin Moyu chuckled, "Your clan was bold, not just eyeing the Supreme's position, but even daring to challenge the chaotic desolate ox. Who knows what you were thinking?" Little Peng said, "I really don't know. Ancestors never told us, probably didn't want us to know. If not for this accident, those memories would have stayed buried forever." Lin Moyu asked, "What will you do now?" Little Peng flew to his clansman and exhaled a grey mist, enveloping and helping him recover. After a while, he returned. "That's all I can do. It should help speed up his recovery, but this dormant state may last 10,000 years or more. As long as nothing unexpected happens, he'll eventually recover." Lin Moyu set another formation to hide the area in the void. Chaos is vast. No one might pass this region for 10,000 years, and even if they did, Lin Moyu's formation would ensure they found nothing. He also had Little Peng leave a message in the array, then the two of them departed. With the eastern extreme Dragon Python leading, Lin Moyu headed back toward the central domain. Little Peng asked, "Once we're back in the central domain, where next?" Lin Moyu replied, "The eastern extreme trip went rather well once back. I'll head for the northern extreme." Little Peng was puzzled. "Why the northern extreme?" Lin Moyu replied, "The western extreme is too far. North or south would both work, but the southern extreme might be at war with the central domain. I don't want to get involved, so I'll go north first. If the war over by the time I'm back, then I'll try the south. If not, I'll go west next, or maybe even the upper and lower domains. In any case, I need to visit all three remaining extremes. The order doesn't really matter, just whichever is the most convenient." Lin Moyu was very easygoing about this, and so was the Catastrophic Supreme. There was no required sequence for refining the formations. All he needed to do was go and take control. The order was unimportant. From his earlier glimpse at the conversation of the Supremes, Lin Moyu realized that the chaos-wide domain wars had internal causes. He'd also noticed that not every Supreme was on the Catastrophic Supreme's side. The Supreme of the Eastern Extreme was just a bystander, neither involved nor opposed. The other three extremes, Supremes, friend or foe, it was impossible to say. People change. Even if someone was a comrade in the past, countless years alter everything. So Catastrophic Supreme left no explanations. This was something to be judged personally. Right now, Lin Moyu's only worry was lack of enough strength. If someone like the chaotic desolate ox turned hostile, he'd be in mortal danger, with no hope even of escape. But gaining power wasn't something that could be accomplished overnight. Looks like my preparations for the north will need to be even more thorough next time. Little Tree is now in deep sleep, its aura ever stronger, already beyond mine. Maybe, once it wakes, it will be a big help. But personal strength is what matters most. Still, it's too hard and needs time, it can't be rushed. The Eastern Extreme Dragon Python kept tearing open the void, gradually drawing nearer to the cross-domain teleport array. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's expression shifted and he snapped to attention. Oh, Chapter 4376, the Eastern Extreme Dragon Python comes knocking. What's wrong? Little Peng didn't know what had happened or why they had stopped so suddenly. Lin Moyu responded quietly, someone is following us. Little Peng sensed nothing, but if Lin Moyu said so, he believed it absolutely. Lin Moyu questioned the Eastern Extreme Dragon Python, but it hadn't sensed anything either. Still, Lin Moyu trusted his own instincts. Just now, a feeling of danger had arisen in his soul. If he continued on this path, danger was certain. Even after stopping, the sense of danger did not vanish. In fact, it grew stronger. Lin Moyu felt as if an invisible web was slowly closing over him. But in reality, he found nothing out of the ordinary. I'll give it a try, Little Peng said. He began to glow faintly, spitting large amounts of grey mist that merged and disappeared into chaos. As he did so, he explained, because we're cursed by the Supremes, most of us have acted alone for years. Acting alone in chaos is dangerous, so we've learned how to sense and guard against threats. My breath can scan a range of tens of millions of li for a short period, even into deep space. If anyone is in that range, I'll notice. The breath served only to sense life within range. It had no other effects. As a chaotic, lonely Peng, Little Peng was used to solitude, always alert, never trusting easily. After spraying the mist, he focused. A few moments later he said, "There's a life form in deep space," pointing to a spot where nothing could be seen. Space here was complicated. Many chaotic beings could move freely in deep space, but in the Eastern Extreme, the most common were the Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons. Lin Moyu sent several dragon pythons flying out toward the spot Little Peng indicated. They disappeared into deep space like swimming into a great river, and Lin Moyu's senses followed. Deep space, unlike the bleak chaos, was vibrant, full of shifting colors and radiant streams. No one knew how many layers. Chaos space truly had. Some places were thick with layers, some thin. Entrances, cracks, and crossings developed between these layers. Only those with true understanding of space could navigate them at will. While Lin Moyu could enter deep space by relying on his comprehension of spatial Tao, the dragon pythons were natural masters. Slipping through layer upon layer, the pythons arrived at the spot Little Peng had indicated. A brief search revealed a group of 10 Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons, all at minor completion of the Chaos Realm. It's the Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons. Lin Moyu realized at once what was going on. His slaying of Xuan Long Python must have been discovered by his kin. The Eastern Extreme Dragon Python race boasted 8 full completion ancestors, each named for a different character from the phrase Heaven, Earth, Xuan, Huang, Universe, Hong, Desolation, Waste. Of them, Xuan Long Python had already been killed by Lin Moyu. When he died, his bloodline power returned to the clan, likely allowing another to break into full completion and take the name. Certainly, the remaining 7 full completion Dragon Python ancestors must have sensed Xuan's death and through their mystical connection, had followed the trail to Lin Moyu. For the Dragon Pythons to thrive in chaos, they needed survival skills, and pursuit of their clan's killer was one of them. Most likely, the leader of the pursuing group was at the full completion realm, perhaps more than one had come. Lin Moyu didn't have a good way to deal with full completion experts at the moment. When he'd slain Xuan Longpython, it took all his effort. Even so, he wasn't too worried. If only one ancestor came, he might win. 2 would mean trouble. This minor completion Dragon Python was only tailing them, probably waiting for the ancestors to arrive. Most crucially, they were marking Lin Moyu's position for the full completion ancestors. Realizing this, Lin Moyu determined not to wait idly. A thought, and two of his reborn dragon pythons leapt to attack their kin. Meanwhile, Lin Moyu pressed onward toward the cross-domain grand array. If the enemy wanted to follow, they'd pay a price in blood. He summoned vast numbers of undead thralls, sending them in all directions to obscure his tracks. Their presence wouldn't stop the pursuers, but would create enough chaos to interfere. His other reborn minions also scattered, blending with the undead thralls to further disrupt any pursuit. Lin Moyu guessed the enemy could track him mainly through the dragon pythons he'd reborn. Despite their rebirth, the connection of their bloodlines likely remained, making them ideal beacons. Otherwise, it would be much harder for anyone to find him in the boundless chaos. Soon, messages came from the undead thralls. They had encountered the eastern extreme dragon pythons and were engaged in combat. Instantly, Lin Moyu's feeling of danger faded. The plan was working, and his actions were enough to disrupt pursuit. Yet it was only a temporary fix. The cross-domain array was getting closer, and once inside it, he'd be invincible, able to stay, fight, or flee as he wished. No number of full completion experts was a match for the power of a cross-domain array. Suddenly, space surged and churned. Layers upon layers of space were disturbed, making even the region's surface turbulent. While traversing the space, Lin Moyu was forced out, cast back into the plane of the chaotic void. Vast power rampaged through the void. Fierce auras raged. A great battle was underway, shaking the surrounding space, making further movement impossible. Farther over there, Little Peng pointed. Roughly 10 million li away, a fierce fight was unfolding. 3 Chaos Realm Great Completion cultivators were amidst a swarm of Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons. With 3 equally powerful Dragon Pythons at their head, wielding space talents with backup from the rest, giving them an advantage for the moment. But the cultivators weren't weak, and the fight was still even. These cultivators seemed to be from the central domain. Shall we help them? Lin Moyu checked the battlefield. Both sides were at Chaos Realm Great Completion, but there was no sign of full completion carnage. Looking farther still, Lin Moyu could sense more Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons in the region, all exerting their spatial power and claiming this area. As fate would have it, the cross-domain Grand Array was also here. He glanced at his array disk. It flickered, but could not be used. The space was far too chaotic for teleportation. The only option was a direct charge. A soul-piercing needle appeared in his hand and vanished into a wisp of light. Moments later, wails rang out. A Chaos Realm Great Completion Eastern Extreme Dragon Python fell dead on the spot. Chapter 4377, Breakthrough. Lin Moyu acted instantly, wielding the soul-severing needle to directly kill one Eastern Extreme Dragon Python at great completion of the Chaos Realm. At the same time, he pointed and declared, "Corpse explosion." With a loud boom, the remaining 2 Great Completion Dragon Pythons were blown apart on the spot. From start to finish, in less than half a second, 3 Great Completion Chaos Realm Dragon Pythons had been annihilated. So long as he had their corpses, killing them was as easy as eating or drinking for Lin Moyu. He even thought to himself, if he ever had an infinitely powerful corpse at his disposal, he could even insta-kill Dao. Of course, that was just wishful thinking. Countless undead minions swarmed out, energetically attacking the remaining Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons. At this moment, the 3 cultivators from the central domain hadn't fully reacted. One moment they were fighting hard, and the next, their foes had suddenly died. "Go!" Lin Moyu shouted, surging forward, unfurling the wings of chaos, stirring chaotic winds, and releasing the Chaos Disturbance Array disk. The Chaos Disturbance Array activated. Combined with the wings of chaos, the space of the whole area churned like a vortex. Anyway, the Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons had already locked down the space. even disabling his teleportation arrays, so if the space was going to be a mess, it might as well be complete chaos. Though the void was chaotic, the cross-domain Grand Array still hid within deep space, unperturbed by outside disturbances. The cross-domain Grand Array was simply on another level. It was almost its own little world, unaffected by such conflicts. The problem was that Lin Moyu needed to get within 10,000 li to enter the Grand Array. If space grew any more chaotic, even 10,000 li might not be close enough. If nothing else works, I'll just make the Grand Array reveal itself. If all else fails, I'll move it somewhere else. Lin Moyu reasoned. As the array's true master, he could relocate it as needed. Speeding through the chaotic void, the spatial gift of the Eastern Extreme Dragon Pythons had lost all effectiveness for now. The three cultivators from the central domain finally caught on, following the guidance of their array discs in pursuit of the cross-domain array. Most of the surrounding dragon pythons had their hands full with the undead, unable to chase the humans. Suddenly, a terrifying hiss and a dragon's roar erupted. A sharp sword tore through the void, trailing a blazing plume, restoring calm wherever it passed. A domain treasure. Lin Moyu instantly recognized the sword as a domain treasure, its aura infused with thick spatial power, clearly a weapon of a full completion Eastern Extreme Dragon Python ancestor. From its tail flame emerged a gargantuan python, radiating the crushing force of full completion. That was quick. Lin Moyu was still 10 million lei from the cross-domain Grand Array. Normally, that was a trivial distance, but now it felt immense. The Eastern Extreme Dragon Python ancestor unveiled its true form, a massive beast 1,000,000 meters long. Its great tail swept the void. The terrifying force tore space apart. The three central domain cultivators were sent flying, screaming. Terror-stricken, they could only flee. The power of a full completion expert was beyond hope of victory. But with the area in chaos, even their secret escapes would probably fail. The sword's light flickered, slicing through the three cultivators, but not quite killing them, only leaving them grievously wounded. Desperately, they tried to escape, but survival was uncertain. The three took the worst of the attack, while Lin Moyu absorbed the aftershocks with his wings of chaos, only being pushed back 1,000 li before regaining footing. "Who is that?" Lin Moyu demanded of his undead dragon python, who, as a member of the clan and at great completion, would certainly know. Reporting to Master, that's Ancestor Hong. Heaven, Earth, Xuan, Huang, Universe, Hong, Desolation, waste the 8 great ancestors, with this one being Hong Long Python. Lin Moyu appraised Hong Ancestor. He seemed a cut above Xuan Long Python, especially with his domain treasure sword. Hong Long Python stared at Lin Moyu, thunderstruck. "You actually control him." Realizing Lin Moyu could control his relatives, Hong was not only shocked, but radiated killing intent. Lin Moyu said nothing. The face of a full completion expert made deception pointless. Time would be better spent devising a counter. Unlike Xuan Longpython, Hong here was at his peak. Killing him would be tough, plus more full completion pythons might show at any moment. The best option was to get inside the cross-domain array as fast as possible. Seeing Lin Moyu's silence, Hong's gaze sharpened. A domain phantom appeared. His domain treasure returned to hover within it. The domain's projection loomed over billions of li as a mirror-like magic treasure rose. Suddenly, Lin Moyu noticed wisps of grey air emanating from his body. Causality. The grey mist wasn't his, but a manifestation of karma. Hong had a treasure that manipulated karma itself. The mist coalesced into the likeness of Xuan Longpython. Hong Longpython howled, "You killed old Xuan." Lin Moyu hadn't expected such a treasure. Now that he had been identified, there was nothing more to say. His aura skyrocketed. Ascension. In a flash, he advanced from minor completion to great completion of the Chaos realm. His undead army rapidly strengthened too. Still nowhere near full completion, but his power had multiplied several times. Most importantly, his ascension made his wings of chaos stronger, turning the space around him into utter chaos. World-ending Dao Palm. Chaotic wind. Lin Moyu released everything at once. Thousands of palm strikes rained toward Hong Longpython, strong enough to wipe out worlds. The wings of chaos summoned winds, each gust carried a curse. Hong Longpython sneered, how naive. His domain projection flared, wielding his immense claws. A blade of light sundered Lin Moyu's palms. But curses stalked him silently. He shuddered, stunned for an instant. Corpse explosion. Lin Moyu will triggered the corpses of the two slain great completion dragon pythons to explode into nothingness. At the same time, his monumental willpower burst forth. More than 100 drops of ancestral water turned to vapor in his hands. He hadn't used willpower and ancestral water in some time against a peak full completion foe. He needed every advantage. With ascension, willpower, and ancestral water, the force of the corpse explosions reached its apex. Boom! Twin explosions landed on Hong Longpython, who bellowed in agony as his body was torn apart. He couldn't even tell where the attack had come from. It detonated within his own body. His soul wounded, body shredded. 3 reborn dragon pythons, Lin Moyu's minions, joined in, entering Hong's domain and immediately self-destructing, just as against Xuan Longpython. Before Hong could recover from the corpse explosions, it was far too late. His domain was blasted open, his cries echoing through the void. Chapter 4378, Cheat Device. Seriously wounded, his domain shattered. The full completion dragon python ancestor, who had only moments ago been awe-inspiring, now found himself in dire straits. Lin Moyu didn't pause once he made his move. Hordes of undead minions blanketed and surrounded Hong Longpython. Screams mixed with furious roars, while sword light whipped in from afar as Hong Longpython recalled his domain treasure. The 3 cultivators from the central domain managed to escape at the last moment and fled as fast as they could, too terrified to look back as they left the battleground. Hong Longpython wielded his treasure, unleashing a torrent of sword energy that slew countless undead minions. But their numbers were endless. Kill one, another would revive, making it impossible for Hong Longpython to dispel them all. Meanwhile, Lin Moyu flew toward the cross-domain Grand Array. He had done all he could. Hong Longpython was weakened and trapped. His threats had been greatly diminished. Now surrounded by undead, it was all but impossible for him to kill Lin Moyu, though Lin Moyu was also finding it difficult to finish off Hong Longpython. With no other ancestors present, Lin Moyu decided running was best. The roars continued as Hong Longpython manipulated his treasure again and again, trying to kill Lin Moyu, only to be blocked by walls of undead minions. The wings of chaos kept raining curses, making things worse with every touch, regardless of direct effectiveness. Lin Moyu drew ever closer to the array, just a little more, and he'd be safe. Suddenly, Lin Moyu frowned. Powerful auras were rushing toward him. Another full completion ancestor was arriving. Lin Moyu spotted a glimmer in the distance. The newcomer brandished their own domain treasure, tearing apart the chaotic space and piercing through. Little Peng called out, "Let me handle this." He spat copious essence blood that coalesced into a palm-sized chaotic python Peng. "Ancestor, save me," Little Peng cried. From that essence blood, a terrifying figure appeared, summoned from the power of time itself, whether by a unique talent or spell Lin Moyu couldn't tell. The summoned ancestor, at least as strong as full completion, charged forward, smashing the oncoming dragon python ancestor aside. It only knocked the newcomer back. Injuring them was another matter. Instantly, the ancestor resumed the attack. Hong Longpython howled, "Old you, kill him. He's the one who killed old Xuan." Little Peng sighed, "I'm too weak, I could only do this much." Lin Moyu nodded, "It's enough." With that, Lin Moyu produced the cause-seeking ring, murmuring, "Effect without cause in the next half hour, I won't suffer any injury." He activated the ring, filling the area with the power of karma. The cause-seeking ring was one of Lin Moyu's trump cards. It could ward off disaster and turn the tables on foes. Furthermore, the ring's effect was completely unreasonable. As long as Lin Moyu withstood the backlash, it was practically godlike, a true cheat device. But Lin Moyu could resurrect countless times, making the ring in his hands even more terrifying. Aware of his own lack of strength, Lin Moyu knew he couldn't use the ring recklessly. He must stay within what he could endure. The backlash rushed in. Before karma solidified, Lin Moyu's body exploded, shattering into dust. But the very next instant, he revived, only to shatter again. Again and again, dying and resurrecting, Lin Moyu silently endured the pain. Little Peng had gotten used to this. Quietly, he helped Lin Moyu soar toward the array. Though the summoned ancestor delayed their foe and expended much effort, Little Peng's energy was now depleted, his aura unstable, being only half-step into the chaos realm. This feat took a heavy toll. Yu Longpython, the newly arrived ancestor, saw Lin Moyu repeatedly dying and reviving. At first, he was baffled, not understanding what Lin Moyu was doing. But that didn't matter. He struck out, unleashing his domain treasure. A colossal claw crossed the void, striking at Lin Moyu's head. Lin Moyu barely revived, tucked into his storage space as the claw fell. Being struck was no issue, it just meant dying and reviving again. But if Little Peng were hit, it would be catastrophic. A full completion attack, augmented by the ancestor's domain treasure, was devastating. Struck during a resurrection interval, Lin Moyu was reduced to ashes. The dragon pythons barely had time to rejoice before Lin Moyu, bathed in purple glow, revived again. And then he died again. He hadn't died enough yet. The ring's backlash was still active. Yu Longpython kept up the assault, killing Lin Moyu again and again, 70 or 80 times in all, until the ring's backlash was exhausted, and the effect without cause took hold. A peculiar aura enveloped Lin Moyu, just as Yu Longpython struck again. Lin Moyu did nothing. The attack was suddenly diverted by an unseen force into the void and disappeared. Yu Longpython was baffled by the impossible scene. He kept attacking, growing irate. He didn't believe Lin Moyu couldn't be killed. But every attack vanished just before reaching Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu smiled. The cause-seeking ring hadn't let him down. Once the karma took effect, he was invincible for half an hour. He could hit others, but no one could hurt him. Unless Lin Moyu suspected the ring's power was of the same grade as Dao. Only those at the same level could truly threaten him. Not even a supreme would be able to touch him. Where did Yu Longpython's attacks go? How did the ring make Lin Moyu immune? Lin Moyu didn't care as long as it worked. He ignored the dragon pythons, surging forward with the wings of chaos toward the grand array. He also recalled all undead minions thanks to the ring. He was already invincible for half an hour and had no reason to keep dragging out the fight. He let his enemies attack as they pleased. None of their strikes would do a thing. His confidence arose from an unshakable faith in the cause-seeking ring. Each attack approached only to scatter before contact. The two ancestors, full completion, Eastern extreme dragon pythons, couldn't make sense of it and roared in confusion. Damn it! What did this guy use? Why is this happening? No clue. He's hiding something huge. They cursed and howled, but it was all for nothing. Roar! Suddenly, a beast's cry filled the area. A massive black shadow loomed, and space was torn to pieces by a weird aura. It's the aura of the ancient wilds. Lin Moyu's heart skipped. How could aura from the ancient wilds appear here? He realized every attack aimed at him had vanished into the folds of space, perhaps even into the ancient wilds themselves. The thought had barely formed when space utterly shattered, chaos giving way to swirling powder, ripping through even the deepest layers. Space turbulence surged like a tsunami, and giant vortexes appeared. Lin Moyu was swept up before he could even react. Chapter 4379, Desolate Shadow Beast. How could this happen? Within the vortex, Lin Moyu was spinning uncontrollably, his thoughts just as turbulent. He didn't understand what was happening. Had the cause-seeking ring failed? But the ring hadn't failed. He truly hadn't been injured. He could feel the terrifying power contained within the vortex, but it was strange, none of it harmed him. The chaotic space had been shattered, and shattered beyond imagination, layer after layer, countless spatial planes, reduced to powder as if glass was smashed, ground down to dust, then even the dust was gone. For the first time, Lin Moyu saw space so thoroughly destroyed. He knew that the deepest layer of chaotic space was filled with space turbulence, unlike the kind in domains or worlds. True chaos turbulence amassed chaotic great Tao laws, so wild and destructive that even Eastern extreme dragon pythons with spatial talents could only barely survive for a while. What lay beyond that turbulence, only the Supremes might know. Today, Lin Moyu saw, beyond chaos turbulence, there were many vortices. And beneath those vortices, it seemed there was a gigantic beast. Just before, because of the cause-seeking ring, all the attacks from Hong Longpython and Yu Longpython had pierced through the broken space and landed on this beast. That beast went berserk, shattered space, and pulled Lin Moyu inside. Not only Lin Moyu, but all nearby Eastern extreme dragon pythons were sucked in, including both Hong Longpython and Yu Longpython. Two full completion experts could not escape. Even the cross-domain grand array appeared for a moment. It floated up from shattered void, defenses at full, but new cracks were appearing even as they had just finished repairing. A lingering mystery was suddenly unraveled. The reason the cross-domain array had previously shattered was tied to this beast. But just what was this beast? Spinning in the vortex, Lin Moyu tried to keep his mind clear. Amid the howling noise, other faint sounds emerged. Listening closely, he discerned where those sounds came from. Screams mixed with draconic howls from the Eastern extreme dragon pythons. It seemed that those who'd been sucked in together with him were dying, many already dead. The vortex spun faster and faster. Lin Moyu sensed he was nearing the end. As the speed increased, his vision outside the vortex became clearer. He could now see more than feel. Faster and faster, he saw other vortices, some with shattered corpses swirling within. The Eastern extreme dragon pythons pulled in with him were torn to shreds, their bodies and souls alike, the deaths utterly horrible. It's them! Lin Moyu saw two vortices with living Eastern extreme dragon pythons inside, specifically Hong Longpython and Yu Longpython. They struggled, trying to free themselves, but were powerless against the vortex's force, which slowly sliced off their flesh. Blood spun throughout the maelstrom. Their agonized cries echoed, helpless. Lin Moyu listened. Mixed among their screams was something else. Shadow beast, desolate. Their words were broken up, but Lin Moyu caught the message. They were calling out the beast's name, perhaps begging for mercy, but the beast paid no mind. Lin Moyu finally learned the beast's name, Desolate Shadow Beast. At least, that's what those two called it. Under the vortex's wrenching power, Hong Longpython and Yu Longpython were finally not spared. A minute before reaching the end, their bodies and souls were torn apart. Lin Moyu felt their auras snuff out, even their domains exploded to pieces. To full completion, experts died without explanation. Lin Moyu mourned for 3 breaths, pondering, How did the cause-seeking ring actually prevent harm? He believed everything had cause and effect, root and origin. Nothing appears from nothing. No matter how heaven-defying, the cause-seeking ring couldn't escape this fundamental rule. So just now, the desolate shadow beast must have already been present, otherwise those attacks could not have landed on it. The desolate shadow beast's presence also explained why the cross-domain array could break apart. To destroy the array, only a supreme could do it. Ordinary, full completion experts couldn't hope to. But with the desolate shadow beast, it all made sense. Finally reaching the end of the vortex, at the moment of exit, Lin Moyu suddenly coughed violently. A peculiar aura flooded his soul couldn't adapt, and instantly choked. Ancient desolation. Coughing, Lin Moyu realized with shock the aura was from ancient desolation, not a mix of chaos and desolate as in waste scars, but the genuine air of ancient desolation. I really ended up in ancient desolation. Hard as it was to accept, Lin Moyu had to admit he had almost certainly entered ancient desolation. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed in front of him. Lin Moyu looked up and saw a colossus nearly the size of a domain sweep past, trailing black light, swiftly vanishing into the darkness. It was the desolate shadow beast moving silently, paying Lin Moyu no attention. To beings of that scale, Lin Moyu was too insignificant. Lin Moyu didn't seek an audience. If the beast were aggressive, it would be disastrous. From the eastern extreme to ancient desolation, this journey was all the work of the desolate shadow beast. No telling how much distance was crossed, but power at this level must rival a supreme. Only after the desolate shadow beast completely disappeared from his senses did Lin Moyu dare relax. Now, within ancient desolation, he had two options. First, search the area for the catastrophic supremes, array making the best of circumstances. Second, return to chaos. Lin Moyu now had 3 arrays under his control, faintly connected, so he could retrace his way. How far or how long those methods would take was uncertain. Suddenly, dazzling light swept over his eyes, and countless beams shot from afar, slicing past him and into the distance before he could react. By sheer luck, none of the rays struck him. Any one of them could have shattered him, possibly killing him repeatedly. Fortunately, the cause-seeking ring still protected him. He survived unhurt. Ancient desolation is truly dangerous. Lin Moyu recalled this saying. Danger was everywhere. Immediately, he produced the calamity crossing boat and boarded it, boosting his safety. He called Little Peng out. Do you know the desolate shadow beast? Chapter 4380, Go back or accept fate. Desolate shadow beast. Little Peng searched his bloodline memories, accumulated over countless years, and though the information was vast, a thorough search took a moment. After checking, he shook his head. There's no information on a desolate shadow beast, but there is something called a shadow desolate beast. Desolate shadow beast, shadow desolate beast, the latter sounded more natural. Little Peng described the shadow desolate beast in general terms, and Lin Moyu realized he'd misunderstood the name earlier. He had pieced together those broken cries from Hong Longpython and Yu Longpython incorrectly. The true name of the giant beast was Shadow Desolate Beast. The Shadow Desolate Beast is a unique giant born in ancient desolation, living in the deepest layers of space. They roam spatial turbulence and are said to reach the very deepest regions of space, somewhere even supremes cannot go. Only these beasts know what lies in the deepest layers of space. Ordinarily, they rarely appear like the shadows of chaos and desolation, silently lurking. Nonetheless, their strength is formidable, second only to supremes and surpassing most full completion experts. There are stories of supremes hunting them, but these beasts can merge with shadows and slip into the deepest space where supremes cannot reach, so the hunts always failed. The chaotic Lonely Peng clan once targeted these beasts. Their ancestors believed there was a great secret within shadow desolate beasts, and capturing one to study would provide the power to match a supreme. But all attempts ended in failure, with the clan paying steep prices each time. This race seems to have a penchant for self-destruction. They've antagonized supremes, chaotic desolate oxen, and shadow desolate beasts. Probably there were others too, each one was out of their league, yet they sought conflict with all. Lin Moyu felt the chaotic lonely Peng clan's survival was a miracle. In the chaos, such troublemakers would have gone extinct countless times by now. Because of all their failed hunting attempts, the clan accumulated substantial knowledge and records on the shadow desolate beast. Lin Moyu finally confirmed the cross-domain array was broken by a shadow desolate beast. Shadow desolate beasts live in the deepest layers of space, but they have a particular fondness for eating primordial worms, especially the powerful ones. And the core of the cross-domain array happened to imprison a full completion chaos realm primordial worm, a top specimen which was an irresistible delicacy. On top of that, the Catastrophic Supreme's formation constantly extracted power from the worm, sending waves through space. Those waves were detected by a shadow desolate beast like a starving wolf tracking a scent. The beast came to investigate. It didn't quite succeed. The array was too powerful. Although the array was torn apart, it never reached the core. Within the core, the Catastrophic Supreme's array waited, and attacking it would trigger a fierce counterattack. The shadow desolate beast must have sensed danger and withdrew, but apparently still lingered nearby, unable to let go. As it was always concealed in the deepest space, nobody realized it was there. As for why the primordial worm ended up in the array's core, maybe the worm entered on its own, maybe the beast drew it in. The detail didn't matter. This encounter happened because the shadow desolate beast was affected by the core's seeking ring, and provoked by attacks from two ancestors of the eastern extreme dragon python, snapped, venting its rage by smashing the region. It even pierced through space, traversed the deepest layers of chaos, and arrived straight in ancient desolation. Lin Moyu could comprehend the shadow desolate beast's actions. The most fascinating aspect of the story was actually the nature of space. The deepest chaos is filled with spatial turbulence. Even those with spatial gifts struggle to move within. Only unique life forms like the shadow desolate beast or supremes can enter. Beyond the turbulence, deeper yet, what exists only these beasts know, even supremes cannot reach, so it's their domain alone. This time, Lin Moyu had a rare opportunity to enter the deepest space, going directly from chaos to ancient desolation. It was worth pondering. What is the actual structure of chaos and ancient desolation? Why is the deepest part of chaos directly adjoining ancient desolation? Lin Moyu had no answers. This question was beyond his understanding. Little Peng asked, confused, "Father, what are you thinking?" Lin Moyu replied, "I'm wondering whether we should look around ancient desolation or try to return to chaos." Little Peng obediently said, "I'll follow your lead." Although Lin Moyu was tempted to explore ancient desolation, his strength was insufficient. Only with the Calamity Crossing boat could he move about safely. If he left the boat, danger could strike any time, so prudence suggested returning to chaos. Yet having come all this way, the idea of leaving so quickly was hard to accept. Just as he was considering this, a loud crash shook the Calamity Crossing boat. Lin Moyu focused, and the exterior of the boat came into view. At some point, a massive worm appeared outside, shaped vaguely like a centipede, but vastly larger, stretching more than 10,000 li. Its body bristled with blade-like legs, giving it a terrifying aspect. It seemed quite curious about the boat. Its front legs tapped the hull lightly. He could see it wasn't striking hard, yet the boat shook violently with each tap. Clearly, if such a tap struck a person, even a full completion expert, it would be dreadful. Ancient Desolation is truly a fearsome place. Mysterious and unknown, full completion is the baseline for survival here. A mere great completion chaos realm cultivator could die at any moment. Little Peng said, "This is called a myriad-legged worm, very common in Ancient Desolation. Its strength is close to great completion in chaos, but its attack is comparable to full completion." While he spoke, the myriad-legged worm seemed to lose patience, its blows growing stronger and the boat quaking even more. Lin Moyu knew the calamity-crossing boat's power. This degree of attack couldn't breach its defenses. The myriad-legged worm, failing to break the boat, grew increasingly agitated, attacks growing ever fiercer. Lin Moyu thought about using the soul-severing needle, but the cooldown hadn't elapsed. It was still unusable. Moreover, for some reason, the soul-severing needle felt much weaker than usual, with a much slower recovery. After leaving chaos, the soul-severing needle's power is decreased. Lin Moyu realized it was because he was now in Ancient Desolation. The needle had lost the support of chaos, Tao laws, losing much of its strength. Simultaneously, Lin Moyu sensed something odd. Strands of energy from the soul-severing needle drifted into the void, aiming straight at the central domain. Previously, this energy was hidden within chaos laws. Lin Moyu hadn't noticed a thing. But its true master was the third elder of the central domain divine alliance. This meant the elder could always trace Lin Moyu's whereabouts, even perhaps spying on him. Luckily, the soul-severing needle was kept in a storage space, which presumably blocks the elder's probing. Lin Moyu was confident the third elder meant no harm, but it was still annoying. Chapter 4381, I want to stay in Ancient Desolation for a while. The myriad-legged worm grew irritated, unleashing a surge of power. Blades of light slashed forth from its legs, sending the calamity-crossing boat flying like a ball. The worm wasn't done yet. It pursued the boat relentlessly, hacking at it as if it were a toy. Lin Moyu could only watch helplessly. There was no way out if he left the boat. He'd be cut down instantly. This was the reality of lacking strength. Reliance on external items was never an enduring solution. Little Peng asked, "What do we do now?" Lin Moyu answered, "Let it play for a while. Sooner or later, it'll get bored." At this point, there was little else to do. Suddenly, light flared in the distance. The rays Lin Moyu had seen previously swept forth once more. Just as the worm was batting the boat around, it squealed and tried to flee, but too late a ray sliced through it. With a wail, a chunk of its body was lopped off, a third lost. Dragging its wounded body, the worm raced away, not daring to linger. A ray struck the calamity-crossing boat too, sending it slamming through the air with a deafening boom. Fortunately, the boat was sturdy enough to remain undamaged. Little Peng, shaken, said, "These rays are called Ancient Desolation Divine Light. In Ancient Desolation, there's no way to predict when or where they'll appear. Divine Light doesn't distinguish enemy from friend. If you're hit, even a full completion expert will be in trouble." Lin Moyu asked, "Did your ancestors encounter it?" Little Peng nodded, "Yes. Ancestors said there's only one way: dodge immediately if you see Desolation Divine Light. Ancient Desolation hosts countless dangers. All Lin Moyu had seen was the tip of the iceberg. At present, he clearly wasn't ready to roam freely in this land. Once the boat stabilizes, Lin Moyu made up his mind they should head back. The boat still bounced uncontrollably from the impact, leaving Lin Moyu anxious. "Master!" Little Tree's voice rang in Lin Moyu's soul. He was delighted and dove into the soul world. Inside, Little Tree, who had fallen asleep after drinking wild water, had awakened much sooner than expected, and with remarkable results. Now Little Tree radiated powerful energy, even stronger than great completion chaos, only a step from full completion. Lin Moyu said, "Looks like wild water worked wonders." Little Tree nodded. wild water greatly strengthened my foundation. Lin Moyu was surprised. You recognize wild water? Little Tree explained. Some of my memories returned. That's why I know it's wild water. Lin Moyu asked, what benefits did it bring? Little Tree replied, wild water elevated my power level, lifted a seal containing memories, and most importantly, restored some of my foundation. Wild water was essential for my recovery. Little Tree had used the word restore twice, meaning wild water wasn't just a bonus, but a fundamental part of itself. Unlike Chaos, Little Tree was always precise with words. Lin Moyu saw the similarity. Lin Moyu asked, are you fully recovered now? Little Tree shook its head. Not yet, I still lack something, which is in ancient desolation. Master must help me find it here. Lin Moyu was stunned, so the next ingredient was here. What is it? Little Tree said, my origin Earth. In my memory, I need 3 things for full recovery: wild water, Chaos Cauldron, and origin Earth. When origin Earth is placed in the Chaos Cauldron, it can fuse into needed Chaos Divine Soil. Once my roots are in Divine Soil and nourished by wild water, I'll truly be restored. Chaos Cauldron. Lin Moyu looked at the 9 continents cauldron near Little Tree. Is that it? Little Tree nodded. Yes, but it doesn't contain the origin Earth. Thinking it over, Lin Moyu realized, so you once had Chaos Divine Soil, but it was divided. Little Tree corrected him. It was split into 6. Chaos Divine Soil split in 3. I was split in 3 too, then I merged back, but the Divine Soil hasn't. Lin Moyu recalled Little Tree's original form as 3 flames of innate talent. Why go to such lengths to divide Little Tree into 6? Only one reason came to mind: to evade Tao. What is Little Tree's true origin, and how is it tied to Catastrophic Supreme? The Supreme's plans were more intricate than Lin Moyu imagined. Though Lin Moyu admired these schemes, he found the layout overwhelming. Either it was too grand, or he underestimated Catastrophic Supreme. Lin Moyu asked, do you know where origin Earth is? Little Tree replied, in the depths of ancient desolation. I can't say exactly, but I'll sense it once inside. Lin Moyu said, we're in ancient desolation now. Little Tree's eyes lit up. We are really here. Yes, affirmed Lin Moyu, by accident. It's dangerous, and I was planning to leave. Little Tree agreed. It is dangerous. You're not strong enough yet. Let's go and come back later. Little Tree obviously longed for origin Earth, but understood safety came first. As the soul world shimmered, a small gap opened in Little Tree's roots, and Chaos zipped through. He'd recently attached himself to Little Tree, absorbing Chaos energy, and now returned for some reason. When Chaos came back, he spun around Lin Moyu and shouted, Master, I sense ancient desolation's aura. His lively behavior made Lin Moyu chuckle. Chaos and Little Tree were exact opposites. Chaos temperament was wild, sometimes impulsive, but reliable. He'd never caused a problem. Little Tree was quiet and steady, resembling Lin Moyu himself. Both traits had their merits. Chaos brought vitality to the soul world. Lin Moyu suspected Chaos also had sealed memories, and that his origins likely matched Little Tree. After all, if he could fuse with spells and help Lin Moyu achieve chaosification with internal chaos, he was something extraordinary. Lin Moyu remarked, we are definitely in ancient desolation. Chaos asked, Master, your current realm isn't suitable for ancient desolation. Did something go wrong? Before Lin Moyu could reply, Chaos continued, doesn't matter, what matters is you made it in alive. Master, let me out. I want to spend some time in ancient desolation. To spend some time. Just for a while, I can't explain, just need to stay for a bit. This where our chapter ends, and here's my analysis. A thread of soul, hidden in a spatial fissure. A trace of primordial worm power masking his presence. Lin Moyu watched 2 Supremes converse as casually as old friends. The wild scar is about to erupt again. This time it's in the south. Old Rui, the Eastern Extreme's supreme, was a bystander, neither helping nor hindering, and the white-robed elder, an ally of the Catastrophic Supreme, watching from shadows. They never knew they were being watched. For the first time, Lin Moyu had stepped off the board and looked at the players. 10 years of searching the Eastern Extreme, 10 years with nothing to show. Then little Peng felt it, a bloodline resonance. A continent half hidden in swirling chaos. A chaotic lone Peng, 10 million meters long, lying still as death. But Lin Moyu's undead eye saw the truth. Soul flames, countless, tiny, invisible, burrowed into the Peng's body, draining its life force endlessly. The Peng wasn't dead. It was trapped in dormant extinction, forced to regenerate life force forever as fuel. The continent vanished, then reappeared. And behind it, something opened its eyes, a beast so vast that continents were dust motes orbiting its body. The chaotic, desolate ox, born in the ancient wilds, power that rivaled supremes, sleeping for eons while soul-eater bugs harvested life from everything that stumbled into its orbit. When it snored, thunder erupted across billions of li. Lin Moyu's clone approached, through fields of debris, past swarms of invisible bugs, closer and closer. Until the ox's eye opened. "You've finally come." Inside its body was a world, grasslands, a great tree, a middle-aged man pouring tea. "Call me Old Ox." The tea, wild water, was refined from ancestral water and ancient wild's treasures. Only one cup ever made, only one being could drink it. The chaos ancestral tree, sleeping in Lin Moyu's soul, stirred once, then dove into slumber, its aura already soaring. Old Ox had waited countless years for this moment, guarding the Catastrophic Supreme's final Eastern Extreme array. "Go handle it, and I'll finally be free." A leaf drifted down, everything Lin Moyu needed to know. When he emerged, the ox was gone, the array was his. And on one of the orbiting stones, a chaotic lone Peng was released, gift for little Peng, but the Eastern Extreme dragon pythons had found him. Ancestor Hong, full completion, domain treasure, peak strength. Ancestor Yu, another full completion, closing fast. Lin Moyu raised the cause-seeking ring. Effect without cause, for the next half hour I will suffer no injury. The backlash killed him, 70 times, 80 times. Then the karma took hold. Their attacks vanished before touching him, their domain treasures shattered against nothing. 2 full completion ancestors roared in helpless fury. Then space shattered. A beast's cry tore through the void, a black shadow so vast it swallowed worlds. The shadow desolate beast, born in the deepest layers of space, feeding on primordial worms, had been absorbing their deflected attacks. Now it was awake, and it was furious. The vortex swallowed everything, 2 full completion ancestors shredded to nothing, the cross-domain array cracked. When the spinning stopped, Lin Moyu coughed violently. Ancient desolation, the shadow desolate beast swept past, paying him no mind, too insignificant to notice. Around him, ancient desolation divine light slashed through the void, capable of killing full completion experts with a single strike. The calamity crossing boat kept him alive, barely. Little Tree awakened from his wild water slumber, his aura now a step from full completion. "Master, I need Origin Earth. It's here, in ancient desolation." Chaos Child spun excitedly. "Master, I sense a place we must go, something you need, something I need, something fat little tree needs, all different places, all in ancient desolation. Sooner is better than later." Lin Moyu looked at the desolate horizon, 3 destinations, countless dangers, and nowhere near enough strength. But there was no choice. "Let's go." Calamity crossing boat pushes deeper into ancient desolation. Somewhere ahead lies Origin Earth, the final piece of Little Tree's recovery. Somewhere else, a place Chaos Child insists is urgent. And somewhere beyond both, the Catastrophic Supreme's formation waits. But the shadow desolate beast is still out there. The divine light strikes without warning, and Lin Moyu is still only a chaos minor completion cultivator in a land where even full completion is the baseline. The question is not whether he will find what he seeks. The question is whether he will survive long enough to use it. If these revelations about ancient colossi, hidden arrays, and the true cost of stepping off the board have you hungry for more, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for Extreme Highlights audio novels. We bring you the most explosive moments from the novels you love, delivered straight to your ears. New chapters drop daily, so you'll never miss a beat of Lin Moyu's journey. Extreme Highlights audio novels, where stories come alive.